From weathered back roads to the blazing edge of faith, this is where grit meets grace. Welcome to the place where truth ain't tame and stories burn brighter than the flame. This is the Gunpowder, Propane and Jesus podcast. Real talk, real calling, no polish, just purpose. Let's light it up.
Hey,
Woo, we're back.
we are back.
Hey, y'all pray for Kirk or for Bruce Kirk.
Man,
He's dead this week. He died. He was at Plantation Blood, and they thought he was a crypt keeper. Someone put a stake through his heart.
That's terrible.
We're praying for him. Get R.I.P. Bruce.
R.I.P. Bruce.
We love you.
He didn't die.
We got a special
He's
guest.
at work.
No, we got a special co-host again this week. Oh, Donnie Smith May. I listened to that episode.
He's got his silver hair covered up there. I don't like it.
This is beginning to be a normal thing.
Your hat says loblolly. Is that what happens in the bedroom? That was terrible.
God bless. Off the rails.
Where you at, Bruce? R.I.P. Bruce. Oh, man. You going to focus today on this podcast? We got a very special guest. Why don't you introduce him? Because everybody complains how much I overtalk.
You're still talking.
You're doing it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let
Donnie,
you.
let you introduce the guest today.
Ooh, Silver Fox.
I don't even know the guest today.
What's his name again? So we have Jeremy Herrington. He's a business owner. Did you just meet me?
No. I was about
Are
to
you
hit-
recording?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we are recording this
Okay.
week.
Is the
We're going to do
chip
better.
in?
We're doing better for Jeremy.
Is the chip in?
Yeah,
I mean,
the
I
chip's
just
in.
covering all the bases.
What is
John.
a chip? It's an SD card, man.
Yeah,
Come
whatever.
on. You
It's
just-
a chip. You put it in.
Why
I
is
wish you
it we're going to do better?
Yeah, you're the one that messed that up, not us.
You know what?
Yeah, own it.
I'm about to sell my board on eBay.
That's-
Get my $2 back.
Get it. You probably get a better deal at Goodwill.
Shut up.
All right, introduce the
we
man.
got Jeremy Herrington with us. He's not as old as he looks. He's got a little too much gray in that beard over there. He's a business owner.
I want
He's
to
a
buy
good
a
Christian
custom
man.
chopper from Jeremy. That's what he looks like. He looks like he builds custom choppers.
He looks like he's in Antarctica right now. He's got on 13 jackets.
Well, man, you saw my paper shaking up there. It's cold. It was cold.
It ain't cold in here. It feels great. You
Yes.
should have got here at 6 and been cooking. You wouldn't be cold.
No,
Just tear one of them sound blanket down. Wrap yourself in.
that's
You
true.
might get a spider or something. Don't do that.
The mold. Oh.
Jeremy, I heard you was a hustler at golf. I heard you were really good. You're like a closet golfer.
That was a past life.
Past life?
Yeah, used to be.
Huh.
I'm
Well,
decent. I'm still decent,
Well, I
but
appreciate the invite. Me and Donnie like golf.
well, y'all just have to ask. I don't do the asking. You said I was a closet golfer. You have to usually ask those type people.
No. But we got him here today. We're just going to get a little bit of a story. He did a devotion this morning, did a good job.
Yeah.
Challenged us what it's like to be an all-in Christian.
All in, yep.
Not a halfway, but all way.
It was a great message.
It was. It was, man. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeremy. Start, younger life, where you how you grew up. And
Sure.
Where you at now?
Sure. Well, I'm Graniteville, South Carolina. So born and raised there. Like I was telling you guys before, I'll tell you about who I am today, and my wife is Ashley. We've been married now 25 years. Will be coming this September. Daughter 19 years old. We got a son that's I may mess this up. 22 years old, and he's living down in Bluffton. Keely still lives with us at home. She's in college, but. So we moved back to Bluffton, or from Bluffton, South Carolina. We moved back now 4 years, and been living here in North Augusta and enjoying life. I still travel quite a bit. Usually Mondays I'm in Charleston, and Tuesdays I'm usually down in Bluffton. Wednesdays home, Thursdays home, and then Fridays we're usually handling payroll and things back down in Bluffton and going over money and jobs, but. So early years for me, like I said, I was born and raised in Graniteville. I, grew up without a mom. My mom left when I was 3 years old. So kind of raised, with my dad and my grandparents. I will always say that they kind of filled in for that mother role, that mother figure I didn't have. And I might add too, my uncle was very close. We were a small family. Loving family, great family, but being raised by your dad, it was tough. I mean, my dad was a tough guy. He believed in, there was a lot of times, you know, you're looking for that. Hey, you did a great job, but I'm going to show you everything you did wrong.
Yeah.
I just heard that from my guys out there this morning. They're
Yeah.
like, man, you don't tell nobody they do good.
So it's, but no, he was very hard. He was hard on me. My dad was into sports, 24/7, it's, look, I remember running around the house at times at 7, well, maybe about 8 or 9 years old, answering the phone, and it would be some bookie from Vegas, so my dad was heavily into sports, and he coached me in baseball, basketball. I mean, he was always there through everything. And whatever we did, we went kind of like today. I don't mean to be that cheesy, but we were all in. I mean, it was, you get done playing baseball. It wasn't going home. The baseball field was right through the woods to my house, and my dad cut a trail in, and we could just walk straight back to the house. But we didn't go home after the baseball game. It's like, no, you stunk at this. Let's hit some ground balls. Let's pitch a little bit. Let's bat a little bit. So I got to do that. And plus my dad raked the fields after the games and helped clean up. So I was always stuck there at the baseball field. But anyways, I got into golf actually because I had hurt an ankle in football season. I was quarterback, came around left side, and boy,
He looks like a
rolled me.
quarterback. You look like a quarterback.
Yeah. No, I'm missing about maybe 4 or 5 inches. But anyways, I got hurt in football. So I was in Pony League that year, and I ended up catching and ended up playing a little first base, and I dropped out of baseball and got into golf, and I chased it pretty hard and loved it. I had a couple of scholarships to play golf, and I turned them down to go have a good time at Coastal Carolina. Meanwhile, Dad thought the whole semester that we were actually walking on. And we didn't walk nowhere but to the fridge to get some beer. Very little school activity going on. I was joking beforehand, like an idiot, I had scheduled an 8:00 class and an 8:30 class, and I had to cancel those because I never made it.
They were interfering. Huh?
They were interfering. So anyways, going through that, I dropped out of college, ended up joining the Marine Corps. I shouldn't say a stupid idea. Great idea because I needed it at the time. Where my life was headed was kind of scary from an alcohol standpoint, from just being involved with the wrong type of particulars. But I was in the Marine Corps. I was telling these guys earlier that, I wasn't in the Marine Corps long. I ended up getting injured, and I was given an option. If I wanted out, I could go out, or if I wanted to change MOSs, I could. But I was infantry. I didn't really want to get out of infantry, but I really didn't want to stay there. And when a naval doctor gave me that option, I ran with it and got out. And then after that, I was an electrician for, gosh, I don't know, 6 years, 4 or 6 years. I was going through the apprenticeship program, ended up leaving after 4 years of that, and took a maintenance job out with SRS, and was electrical instrumentation. And I did enjoy that, but it was SRS, and I knew I had to get out of that. My dad was retiree from SRS now, and kind of told me, I never understood hurry up and wait, what that meant until I got out there.
Yeah.
And, it was a miserable place. I know everybody's heard of SRS and this and that, but it was miserable for me. I was never a go to the same job daily kind of guy.
Yeah.
I know as you know, I mean, it's one of the things that business owners like about being a business owner. We get to go we get to go out and see different things every day. So anyways, that led me into a career of real estate. I know, totally different animal, but I got into real estate. Had a friend of mine that was starting up a real estate division or a sales division for Keystone Homes. And I called her, reached out to her, and I said, hey, help me out, hook me up. And she said, I can't do that. I can get you an interview, and that's about it. So here I am, electrical background, walking into real estate going, I ain't got a chance. And ended up getting hired and ended up getting a shot, and loved it. I stayed with real estate for many years, and ended up getting into management with Maybaum with a new homes division, and loved it. But money started creeping in, getting a little successful, getting a little pride, getting a little, it led to some other problems, and almost lost my marriage during that career. And when we moved to Bluffton, Hilton Head area, that was kind of my wife and I's reset button. We said, let's push it all aside and let's rebuild. And we did. And down there, I was able to start up a construction business. Ended up losing that company actually back in 2019, leading into 2020, and started a deep depression for my life and some things that were going on, and marriage was again in rebuild mode. Everything was good, but the money was good too, and the pride was good, and the alcohol was flowing, and it was a reckless life I was living there for a while, and God allowed me not only to rebuild another business, but also open a second business, and so we now have a couple of businesses, and they're doing good, and we enjoy them. My business partner lives down in Bluffton now. I'm, like I told you before, I'm down there a couple of days a week with him, and some days in Charleston. We've grown our divisions now over Charleston, Bluffton, Columbia, South Carolina, and we're trying to maybe do a little things here now, which is something new for us. But yeah, it like I said out there in the in the little 15-minute devotional, I've lived that halfway in for many, many years. But I always had it in my heart for Jesus. I knew that there was a place for Jesus, but I never fully gave up the world. I never really fully gave up things. And, I'm so thankful. I'll tell you, we came back, we were looking for a church. We visited True North a couple of times, not anything serious, but my daughter started dating someone at Victory. And, I pulled some CT moments out on the, YouTube, and said, let me just figure out who this cat is. And my daughter kept bragging on how great. And then the next thing you know, her boyfriend's like, hey, you got TikTok? Watch CT, watch this guy, and I'm sitting there going, man, what is this? I'm used to Steve Davis preaching. I'm used to the other pastors, smaller churches, and just, Steve's church is not small anymore, but that soft spoken voice. Yeah. And, so I remember going to Victory our first time, and we were a little shocked. I mean, we walked away, we were going, what in the world was that? Matter of fact, I think I was walking around the kitchen table that night speaking like him, and it was a mimic. It was joking. It was picking on CT, to be honest with you. And I've told CT this story, but
I make fun of him too. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
I give him a hard time all the time.
well, I mean, I had the family laughing. I mean, we were laughing, having a good time about it.
Exactly.
And I remember, CT saying, "Give me 3 times," and I said, "Man, that's kind of crazy." But okay, all right, we'll go back second time. And that second time, man, I really kind of started hitting. I started putting some pieces of my life together. But that third time in, we walked away and said, I think we got our home. I think this is where God's calling us to be.
Yeah.
And, there's some things, looking back, I wish my son could see me today, but he's gone. He's out of the house. He's in his career now. He's graduated college, and there's some things that affect me still today. Looking back in full circle, going, gosh, I wish my son could be here today. Wish there's some things, but one thing we learned in Better Man was you can't, there's never too late for anything, and there's always, everything has a purpose and a meaning, and so my son does get to see me today. But I look at my daughter, and I tell her all the time. I said, "Do you know the impact you made on our family?" I said, "Your little, she don't date that boy no more." But
good job, Dad.
Amen.
But he was a good kid. I had no problems with him. He was a good boy. He has a special place in our hearts.
Is that the same one she just broke up with?
Negative.
I was about to say, because I thought his parents were somewhere else.
Yeah. Now Keely's ex-boyfriend, the recent ex-boyfriend, Dyson was the kid you prayed for.
Yeah.
Dyson was
He's
the
a good
kid he was the kid you went to Jesus with and said, "Hey, please provide a godly man for my daughter." He really was, and he became close. He came close to all of us. It's been a little weird not having him around the house, to be honest. But I make a point now to tell my daughter just how important her steps going to church and her steps getting us back, how it got us really where we are today. She took the initial step, and it was encouraging. You know, we got out of Better Man the other night, and I asked Keely, I said, if you had to describe me today, I don't mean back then, but I mean today, what would that look like? She said, you know, do I need to just give it one word? And I said, no, give as many words you want. And it struck me what she said. She said, I can see the people that you're affecting on a daily basis now. And I see how you're a spiritual leader today in our home. I see, you love mom, you love Jesus. She said, but you're hard, you're tough, but you're, I forget how she exactly put it, but, you have a big heart, but you're also still kind of rough. And that's good, because I still want my daughter to see that. I have to remind myself that my children are not my best friends either. They are. I do have to enforce that discipline. But anyways, no, I went through a lot of years there as alcohol, and I kind of touched on it in there, but the alcoholic days, I had to figure out why I couldn't solve that issue. Why do I have an addictive personality? If you really start unboxing who you were and start leading, I led myself all the way back to 3 years old. And that sense of needing that, you know, I always was looking for the friends, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be the ringleader. Saturdays at my house back in those days, man, we watched football and drank a lot of alcohol, but it was my house. That's where we were. That's where we were going to hang out. I was usually the life of that party. Told Donnie, I said, playing golf, man, and guys encouraged me to drink because I got better. I started playing pretty good, and $100 a hole. Those days are gone. It was tough for me to even get back on the golf course. We were chatting, and I had to reprogram my mind what it looked like to play golf without alcohol, and what it meant, and what it looked like not having to gamble, not having $100 putt hanging over your head. And I was programmed back in my high school days, playing with some of those groups. I can still remember those days today. And I'm in high school usually carrying around a wad of cash because I just won. I never had to pay anything, but when you get that alcohol, those languages, the amount of money flowing, and they know you're a good golfer, and they just tell you to shut up and go play.
That pride and prestige going to your head. Yeah,
that's right. I can remember pulling out a 5-wood on a par 5, and I'm like, okay, I got like 210, 215 in. I can hit this thing, but there's trouble all over the hole, and I can remember it finally set in my head. I remember hitting a bad shot, and one of those dudes looked at me and said, "Don't ever do that again." I'm like, "What?" I was confident, man. Don't ever do that again. You asked me for advice before you pull that wood out, and I'm like, "What's he talking about?" He said, "Think about it. You just cost us a lot of money by putting that ball in where you put it. All you had to do was lay up. Your game is inside 100 yards. You could have easily had a birdie. Now you're going to be, now you walked away. You might have walked away with par, but that don't win us money."
Yo, I got you.
And that kind of stuck with me, okay, I'm messing with guys' money. Mm-hmm. I might need to suck it up a little bit and make some better decisions.
Yeah.
Sir, can I hit this club?
I've seen those days where they're, I'm playing against somebody and there's those two older guys in the cart about 50 yards back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
All the money's in that cart. And you're just down there grinding.
That's exactly right. But no, I have lived a great life. I mean, I really have. It's oftentimes we don't give ourselves enough grace. God was freely giving grace. He freely gives grace to me daily. But I think sometimes, we can wallow ourselves also down into the weeds to where, we don't look back and say, I had some great moments, because I can tell you, I was there for every child, every event that my children ever, needed me to be a part of. I coached Evan through basketball. I was involved with his activities. I can also think back, there's a lot of times that I was there, but I was probably drunk. I was a great functioning alcoholic. I was very good. Funny story, Nick Guido, my brother-in-law, love him to death.
He's a trip.
He is a trip. But he rode with me probably when we first, started the other company. He got a lot of truck time with me. And I used to carry a big old bottle, man. I had that thing slap full of vodka and a little bit of club soda. And he told me one day I think it was after I gave my testimony at Better Man that first time, he came back and said, I just thought you like to drink a lot of water. You mean to tell me that was full of vodka all the time? I said, man, yeah, all the time. I said, when you got out to do your little smoke break, I was sitting there pouring more in there. I carried it in the console, but anyways, I'm excited about my future. I'm excited about where we are. My marriage looks different today. We're so blessed in that category. I mean, I have a beautiful wife who supported me, who I've given many chances to leave me. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of deep scars in that marriage. But it's also why we're so strong today.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the Lord will restore.
Absolutely.
As long as we're willing to move forward and live for him, the Bible says it'll restore what the cankerworm, he'll restore what the cankerworm ate. So
that's right.
What was the turning point where it finally clicked like that and you decided it was time to quit? Or what was that come to Jesus moment,
December 28th, coming on the way back from Bluffton. It was late, almost dark. And I was pretty ripped at the time. I mean, I was out hanging with some old friends, drinking and at a restaurant, and we were working, and I was working kind of late anyways. And I was on the way home, and I ended up, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes outside of Bluffton on the back roads there. And I don't know if I'm dozing off or I'm just bobbing my head, but I could tell I was past the point of no return. And there was a trailer parked up ahead, and two boys standing right there beside it. They were road workers, and I hit them. And I think my truck was 3 months old at the time. It was brand new F-150, and I hit them, and they helped me get the truck off the road. We moved it over. I mean, I think I had a cut on my leg. That was about it. But I clipped them, my front. I probably, I clipped the back of that. I never looked at the other vehicle, that vehicle. I don't know what it looked like. I really don't. I can't remember it. But I do remember, those boys coming up to me, and first phone call I made was my father-in-law. And I was on the phone with Ashley when I did it. I said, I got to go. And she's sitting there, what did you do? What's going on? And I hung up the phone and called my father-in-law and said, hey, look, Lee, I need you to come get me. And he's like, where you at? I said, oh, right outside the bomb plant. And I wasn't right outside the bomb plant. I was 2 hours and 15 minutes down the road, 2 hours down the road. And about, like you said, about an hour and 55 minutes it took him to get to me. We called 911. I knew I was going to jail. I knew it was over. Here comes DUI. Here comes everything else comes along with that. And well, my father-in-law beat the highway patrolman there. My father-in-law was a former police chief, North Augusta. And he comes around there and he's like, first thing, you been drinking? Yep, been drinking. And he said, all right, how long ago? Now I'm just going back through it. Well, we've been sitting there waiting on this state patrolman to hurry up and come. Well, these two boys ran. These two boys took off and ran. They were illegally parked on the side of the road, no cones. They were off the road, but they had no cones out there. So technically they were illegally parked, and they had left. They left me sitting there. It was probably an hour by myself. And my father-in-law is there. Here comes the state trooper. He rolls in. They talk. my father-in-law explains what happened, and I start explaining what happened, and so I take the test, and I don't know what it's called, man. It's the one you follow the finger, and anyways, I'm thinking I passed. I mean, it's
Feels
been,
sobriety.
thank you. This has been 2 hours, so I'm thinking 2 hours, I'm good to go. I'm not drunk. I don't feel anything, and he looked at me, he said, "You failed miserably, FYI." And I said, "Oh, great." He said, "Go sit in your father-in-law's truck." I'm like, okay. So my father-in-law comes back around there. He sits with me and he says, he said, what? I said, "What is next? What's going to happen?" "Well, you got two choices or two things. It's going to happen. Could happen or whatever." He said, "You either going to jail or you just got to pass." I don't know what he's going to do. So state trooper comes around and he asked my father-in-law, he said, "Sir, step out the truck. And sir, you stay in the truck." So I said, "All right." So my father-in-law goes back there and he talks to him. They're talking for maybe 10 minutes or so, what felt like. And he finally tells me to step out. And he said, "Sir, I'm gonna give you reckless driving. You lucky your father-in-law's a good man. You lucky your father-in-law's here. And you lucky that accident took me 2 hours to get here." He said, "I don't think you're drunk right now." He said, but you can't drive no way. So go home. Let your father-in-law take you home and go home." And I said, "Okay." And that was the wake-up call for me. That was the moment that Jesus kind of sat me down and said, "Keep it up. I'm going to take you out."
Now, did you total your truck?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, good
Yep.
Lord.
2 more feet. I would say 2 more feet. I'd have had 2 deaths on my hand,
Man.
and possibly myself. And that scene, that accident, that time in my life could have went a totally different direction.
And you walked out with a scratch on your leg.
Yeah. I mean,
Did you roll, like flips, any of that stuff?
Nope.
Just
Nope.
bang and
no, the way I came off of it and the way I snatched, I guess, kept me from flipping and turning over. But yeah, I mean, they were standing right there at the back of that trailer. I can only imagine. I can still see them, you know. That was crazy. But it was, God knew that my life would be better served. That's the only thing I can get out of this is God knows that I could better serve him and better point people back to him by being here instead of prison. And he knew my family needed me here instead of prison. But I came out of that, came home. My wife kind of let me sleep. Next morning, it was, "We love you." I sat here and watched your 20-some-year-old son, or you're not, I think at the time, maybe he was 18 or 19, but I watched him cry because he knew you was in a wreck and he knew what you were doing. And so I'm going to give you a choice. You can choose that bottle or you can choose this family. It's your choice. And I said, "Okay, all right, I got it. I'm choosing family." And so immediately my father-in-law didn't know it, but he went down to AA in North Augusta down there and got me enrolled. And he said he wanted to join me. And he told me, he said, "Jeremy, I got to tell all this whole group of AA people that I'm an alcoholic. There's no way I can sit in there. You know that, right?" And he said, "You know I'm not an alcoholic." I said, "I know that." He said, "Some of these people I may have arrested at times. I may have a past with." And I didn't really set in my mind until I listened to him say, "My name's X and I'm an alcoholic." And I said, "Man, my father-in-law sat there and did that for me." And he did it a second time for me, with me, sat in there with me. That was special to me to watch that, to have him by my side. But then after that, you know, quitting drinking was bad in itself. But I didn't have the shakes or things like that. It's like God kept me clean the whole time and kept my mind focused on what he needed me to focus on. So I sat that whole year, lost all my friends as far as hanging out, the normal circle.
Yeah.
And I found my family during that time. My family became who I cared about. I'm sitting there and the whole time I'm thinking to myself, I said, "I've been missing out on all this. I've had y'all my whole time, you know," and I just, man, it's amazing what happens when you strip yourself of everything.
Yeah.
You can really start focusing in on the people of your life, your family, your children, who mattered most. And I needed that time of isolation. It was a little touch of depression mixed in with it, but that was my turning point to get back to your question.
Yeah. Now that was a turning point to get you to quit drinking. When was it in the next few years, and what caused the shift in your spiritual life to where you were that halfway? But now, I mean, I've seen you over the past 2 or 3 years where you are all in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I met you right after y'all started coming here and Better Man started. That was the first time I met you. But I have seen the evidence of you being an all in Christian.
Sure. CT got me down into those slow changes. There were, some of his messages really struck home to me. You see, one thing about being a part-time Christian and always having Jesus in the back of your mind, but also living 90% towards that world, and doing those things of the world, God's going to eventually reel your butt back in. And, and through CT, through some of those sermons, it started playing in my head, gosh, I come running back to Jesus every time I screw something up. Yeah. Every time I hit my rear end on that floor, I always go running to Jesus. Well, why don't I try doing this full time with Jesus? Why not try giving him everything in the good seasons? Why is it always the bad season I go running back to him? And so stepped up, went to Better Man. I was not all in at the time. I wasn't, but I wanted that change. I wanted, to stop cussing so bad, stop, thinking so bad, some of that eyesight stuff. I did. I wanted change. I wanted it the right way. I wanted to clean my conversations up with the guys on the construction sites and my partner, my, brother-in-law, my dad. I wanted those conversations cleaned up. So I was willing. I had surrendered. And like I spoke today, I was willing and able. And so through Better Man, slowly, after probably the first 3 weeks, I just kind of sat there like, what am I doing? Is this me? But I bought into it and I said, I'm going to give it a shot. And week 4, 5, I was starting to get all in with it. And I was all in with it at that time. So really through Better Man, Aaron, to answer your question, is when I jumped all in.
Yeah. A lot of these people that come to Friday mornings don't go to Victory, so that we talk about Better Man all the time, and all of them are like, what's Better Man,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of people on the podcast listening don't know what Better Man is, but it's a group of men that are sharing everyday life stories of what's happening in their life to where they can relate to each other. And the biggest thing is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You have a group of men, I think each class is 15, 20 guys, 25, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy and Ken always have a really big turnout. That was my favorite class that I went through. But it's because y'all are real.
Yeah.
Y'all are just like everybody else in the world, that you're not standing up there in a suit and tie, putting on a pony show.
Right.
You're coming in after work and we're cutting up, and, you're letting everybody see that you're part of everyday life. You're in reality, you're
right.
You're not living in some fantasy world, What's the one thing out of Better Man, or maybe a couple of things, that has really helped you be that all in?
Thanks for listening, and remember, the smoke may settle, but the embers stay lit. This was the Gunpowder, Propane, and Jesus podcast. Stay tuned for the next part of this episode.